Most people have no idea what they're getting into when they move to Washington, D.C. Sure, they expect politics, monuments, maybe a cool job downtown, but what they don't expect is how fast your entire life can change depending on which direction you drive. Literally. You could be working in DC, living in Maryland, hitting the gym in Virginia, and still feel like you're barely scratching the surface of how this city actually works. I was born and raised right here in DC, and even after all of these years, the blend of the culture, neighborhoods, and daily life still surprised me. But there's one part of living here that completely catches people off guard, and for some, it's a total deal breaker. People move to DC, but still don't live there. One of the first things that surprises people about Washington, DC is how many folk move for the city, but don't actually live in the city. And it's not because they don't want to, it's because the surrounding areas offer just as much value, sometimes even more, depending on what you're looking for. A lot of people come here for jobs in government, tech, education, law, and nonprofits, and those jobs are often right in the heart of DC. But when it comes time to find a place to live, they realize the city isn't always the best fit for their lifestyle. That could be because of home prices, limited space, the pace of life, or just wanting a little more peace and quiet once the workday ends. So instead, they look just outside the city limits, places like Prince George's County in Maryland or Arlington and Alexandria in Virginia. These areas still keep you close to the action, but often come with a little more space, different price points, and sometimes even a backyard. You're still just a quick drive, metro ride, or bike commute from downtown. The DMV makes that possible without sacrificing convenience. And if you're not familiar, anytime I say DMV, I'm talking about the region that includes DC, Maryland, and Virginia. It's one of the most interconnected areas in the country, which means you got real options. And that flexibility is a beautiful thing. If you're thinking about making a move to the Washington, D.C. area and you're not quite sure where to start, feel free to reach out to my real estate team and me. I'm Tomei, a born and raised D.C. realtor, and we're here to help you figure out which part of D.C., Maryland, or Virginia fits your lifestyle the best. You can call, text, or email us anytime with our information right there on your screen. It's also down in the description of this video. But before you start pinning neighborhoods to your vision board, there's something you need to know about how this region actually functions. And trust me, it catches almost everyone off guard. Something that tends to catch people off guard is just how compact the DC area really is. Not just for the city itself, but the way DC, parts of Maryland, and Northern Virginia all sit closely together in this particular region. That's actually where the name DMV comes from. It stands for DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and it specifically refers to this tight-knit area where all three connect. It's pretty common for someone to live in Maryland, commute into DC for work, and stop in Virginia for groceries or dinner, all in the same day. You can cross state lines in a matter of minutes. The geography is so close, but the lifestyle hits different depending on where you land. DC gives you that true city energy. It's historic, walkable, full of local flavor, and every neighborhood has its own personality. You've got museums, government buildings, live music, street festivals, and non-stop movement. But it also comes with tighter living spaces, less parking, and a busier pace that isn't always the right fit for everyone. Maryland, especially places like Prince George's County and Montgomery County, tend to feel more spaced out. You'll often get more square footage yards and a little more breathing room. It offers a suburban feel while still being close enough to everything in DC. Virginia, particularly Northern Virginia, brings something different to the table. Spots like Arlington and Alexandria are modern, walkable, and full of great restaurants and parks. If you head a bit farther out towards Fairfax or Loudoun County, you'll find quiet, spacious communities that still give you access to the city without feeling disconnected. So while the DMV is compact in size, each part moves at its own pace and offers something unique. Figuring out which one fits your lifestyle isn't just helpful, it's essential. We're about to go over DC pricing, but I wanted to show you this house behind me. My godmother bought in the 70s, I believe. She paid $1 for this house in the DC program. Right before she passed away, our family sold it for $900,000, right? Then the developer bought this house and resold it for $2 million, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. But that's just showing you the power of DC real estate. Real estate prices, what you actually get. Let's talk about the part of moving to DC that tends to surprise people the most. What homes actually cost here and what you get in return. prices in the Washington, D.C. area aren't exactly budget friendly, especially if you're coming from a smaller city or a lower cost state. But here's the thing, what you pay can vary quite a bit depending on whether you're looking in DC, Maryland, or Virginia. In DC, you'll often find higher price tags for smaller spaces, especially if you're staying close to downtown or in one of the more historic neighborhoods. It might be a row home with 2 bedrooms, no garage, and limited yard space, but you're walking distance from restaurants, parks, metro stops, and everything the city has to offer. Heading to Maryland, particularly areas like Prince George's County or parts of Montgomery County, and that same budget could get you more square footage, maybe even a driveway or backyard. These areas offer a more suburban feel while still keeping you close to the city. Virginia tends to sit somewhere in the middle. Arlington and Alexandria can still be pricey, but they offer newer builds, walkable neighborhoods, and strong resale value. As you move out towards Fairfax and beyond, prices can become more approachable, and the homes could often come with more space and newer features. So while the sticker shock is real for some, understanding how each part of the DMV compares can help you get the most out of your budget. It's not just about what you spend, it's about how you want to live. But just when people start to wrap their heads around the housing options, it's something else that completely throws them off, and it's something you can't fix with a bigger budget. One of the most common things people ask me when they're moving to the area is traffic. And I get it, no one wants to spend hours in the car every day. But the truth is, the traffic here is more of a strategy game than a deal breaker. Depending on where you live and what time you're commuting, the experience can feel completely different. Some areas move pretty smoothly during off-peak hours. Others can get backed up over what seems like nothing. And it's not just about the highways. The layout of DC can include a lot of one-way streets, circles, and construction zones that can catch newcomers off guard. But here's the good news. Once you learn the flow, it gets easier. Most locals figure out their own rhythm. Whether that means adjusting work hours, using public transit part of the way, or just knowing which streets to avoid after 4 p.m., it's totally possible to navigate the area without losing your mind. And if you're coming from a bigger metro area like LA or New York, there's a good chance that the traffic here might even feel manageable. It's all about perspective. Still, the way you move through this region can absolutely shape how you experience it, which brings us to one of the most asked questions from people relocating here. Can you actually live in DC without owning a car? Can you live without a car? This is one of the most common questions that come up all the time. Can you really live in the DC area without a car? And to be honest, the answer is it depends. If you're living in the heart of DC or close to a metro line, the answer is absolutely. The metro system connects most of the city and stretches into parts of Maryland and Northern Virginia. It's clean, easy to navigate, and a lot of people using it daily for commuting or getting around without the hassle of parking. But once you get farther out into the suburbs, things change. Not every neighborhood is metro accessible, and buses aren't always convenient for daily use. That's when having a car starts to feel more necessary, especially if you got a larger family, a longer commute, or places you need to be that aren't close to a train line. Some people make it work with the hybrid approach. They might walk or bike to a metro station, then ride into the city. Others rely fully on car and simply plan around peak traffic hours. There's no one-size-fits-all answer here, but the good news is that the DMV does give you options. And speaking of options, the next thing we need to talk about might actually help you figure out exactly where you'll feel most at home around here. Because depending on what kind of lifestyle you want, each part of the DMV delivers something completely different. One of the best things about the DC area is how much variety you can get in such a compact region. The vibe can shift completely depending on whether you're in DC, Maryland, or Virginia. And even within those areas, it changes block by block. Living in the city itself means you're surrounded by energy. You've got walkable streets, local coffee shops, historic row homes, museums, food trucks, and events happening all the time. It's great for people who love having everything right outside their front door and don't mind a little hustle. Maryland tends to offer a more relaxed, residential feel. You'll still find urban conveniences, but many areas lean much more suburban. Families often gravitate here for the space, the parks, and that slightly slower pace while staying close enough to get into DC when needed. Virginia blends both sides of the spectrum. Spots like Arlington and Alexandria give you walkability and city access, but also newer builds, modern amenities, and a slightly more polished feel. As you head farther out towards places like Fairfax or Ashburn, the lifestyle becomes quieter and more spread out, perfect for those who want a little more calm without being too far from the action. So when people ask me, where's the best place to live in the DMV? I always say it depends on what matters the most to you. Because the real secret is this: your lifestyle doesn't have to fit the city. You just need to find out which part of the city fits your lifestyle. And while lifestyle is a huge factor, there's another element that most people overlook until it actually hits them. It can absolutely impact how you feel about living here year round. If you're not from the East Coast, the weather in the DC area might surprise you. Around here, we get all 4 seasons, and each one shows up with a personality. Summers can be hot and humid. We're talking about the kind of heat that makes you want to rethink walking more than a couple of blocks in the afternoon. On the flip side, spring and fall are beautiful. The cherry blossoms, crisp mornings, and fall colors are something locals genuinely look forward to every year. Winters are hit or miss. Some years we get snow, other times we just get cold, rainy, and icy sidewalks. It's not Buffalo level winter, but it's enough that you'll want to get some good boots. The cold isn't constant, but when it shows up, it has a bite. What throws a lot of people off is how quick the weather can shift. One week it's sunny and mild, and the next you're dealing with thunderstorms or a cold snap. It keeps you on your toes, especially when it comes to commuting or planning your week. And while the seasons add a lot of charm to this area, there's something else that locals know to look out for. It has nothing to do with the forecast, but it can completely change how you feel about your new neighborhood. I know, I've been bringing it up over and over about how each area of the DMV feels. But this is something you really can't miss. It matters that much, especially when it comes to choosing a place that actually fits your lifestyle. One of the most unique things about the DC area is how culture shifts from one neighborhood or town to the next. You can drive 10 minutes in any direction and feel like you enter a completely different world. In DC, you might go from a block filled with historic row homes and political buzz to a street lined with international restaurants, street art, and live jazz. Cross into Maryland, and you'll find communities with deep-rooted traditions, family-owned businesses, and a strong local pride that shows up in everything from food to festival. Then in Virginia, especially Northern Virginia, you'll find a blend of modern and traditional. Areas like Arlington feel sleek and cosmopolitan, while farther out towns like Vienna and Falls Church give off a cozy small-town energy with a touch of that urban polish. What ties it all together is the diversity. People from all over the world call DMV home. That shows up in the languages you hear, the food you eat, the schools, and the community events. It's part of what makes this area so vibrant. But all that personality also comes with some quirks. There are things you won't find in the guidebook, but every local knows. And some of them can make or break your day if you're not prepared. There are just some things about living in the DC area you won't learn until you've been here for a while. They're not deal breakers, but they're definitely the kinds of details locals learn through experience. And they're exactly the kinds of things that can throw you off if you don't see them coming. Take parking, for example. In some neighborhoods, you can get a ticket for just being on the wrong side of the street during street sweeping hours. And sometimes those signs are confusing on purpose. Or you'll find out the hard way that certain areas require special residential permits, even if you're just running in for coffee. Then there's the noise pockets. A street might seem quiet during your visit, but come Saturday night, it turns into a nightlife hotspot or a parking lot for party buses. Or a place that looks busy during the day might go completely still after 6 p.m., depending on who lives there and what kind of businesses surround it. Little things like trash pickup times, alley access, and whether delivery drivers can't ever find your front door makes a huge difference. These quirks don't show up in Zillow listings or moving checklists, but they can shape your entire experience once you're here. And that's really the value of working with someone who knows the region from the inside out. Someone that can help you find not just a house, but a lifestyle that actually fits you.